You are very welcome back for another video. And today we are doing this beautiful piece. So we have purple in here, we have copper, we have blue, and in the center we have a lovely like zebra kind of effect. It's really pretty. So let's get straight into it. We have the base already popped on. It is white base, even layer across the canvas. And the next color I'm coming in with is purple. It is a deep purple, and I'm putting that in a line kind of in the center of the canvas across. Then I'm coming in with gold and I'm following the same line, but with the gold this time I'm popping on a bit more of it relative to the purple. And now I've actually thought, it's not quite enough gold, so I'm coming back in with the gold and I'm zigzagging it along that line there. Then we're popping in some beautiful cobalt blue, but we're popping that in to one side, kind of, not directly on top of the gold or the purple. And here we have pewter. Da, da, da. And again, I'm just zigzagging it because the metallics, I love my metallics. So I'm trying to pop on a lot and I'm zigzagging it so we can get more coverage of the metallics throughout all of the colors that we've put on. So the purple and the blue so far. And then the gold is the metallic as well. And here I am popping on oxide black on top of that. And from this line, we're going to blow out. But what I've decided to do now is I'm dipping my palette knife into the white base and I'm zigzagging that across the colors that I've put on there. So this will give us our lovely little zebra looking effect. And of course, we're popping on more of the white base around the canvas so that when we do blow the paint out from the center, it just flows along no problem and gives us a lovely seamless, lovely little finish. And now for the fun bit. So we are taking the hairdryer and we're blowing out from the center. See the zebra effect? Love the black and white there. Looks really nice. So there we're blowing out in 3 directions and it looks like a ghost with its arms up like ah. And then I'm blowing back down in the opposite directions again, but I'm keeping those black and white lines there at the center. I want to keep those because I want those to be the focus of this piece, to have something nice and little interesting going on in the middle. And the next thing I'm doing here is I'm taking my finger, baby finger, tiny teeny finger, not so tiny teeny but the smallest finger on my hand, and I'm delicately just running it from the outside of that puddle, so from the white base into the center, and I'm giving it a little twirl as we come in, just to add a little bit of flair rather than coming in a straight point. And once I have that done in all of the little sections that I use the hairdryer to blow out, popping on more of the white base because next we're going to spin this out. Spinning it out is, to be honest, one of the most fun bits of it. And now we're popping it up and I'm tilting it slightly because I can see it doesn't look entirely centered. And if I do go popping this straight on the spinny thing and spin it out before trying to center it again, it'll just look a bit skewed and it's not the vibe that I want. So I'm tilting that there, tilting it back kind of in towards the center. And now we are placing it on our spinning thing. Ta-da! Just moving all of the cups out of the way now that will get knocked once the spinning thing moves around. And then we're good to go. So off we go with the spinning, one of many. And I'm stopping it here to spin it in the other direction. It's a slow process. It's a delicate process. This part of the painting is not one to be rushed if we can help it. We have to work with it. Here I can see it is still skewing off to one side. So I'm trying to place it better on my spinny thing. Maybe it's my spinny thing that isn't quite level. Who knows? But it's just good to keep an eye out on that. And go slowly so we can change our things around as we're doing it. And look at that. It looks electrifying. I am obsessed with the blue there on the one side. And then on the other side we have the gold and the pewter mixed in with the purple. Beautiful. It also looks a little bit pink, doesn't it? Yeah, I really love this one. This is on a 50 centimeter by 40 centimeter canvas. I love the amount of paint that's moved out, just really beautiful. And when you see the way I brought my finger in and did a little twirl, that looks really interesting and nice now. So we've popped it back on our table that is currently flat and shall not be spinning anywhere, thankfully. And I'm taking the palette knife and I am scraping off little bits of paint here where the paint blew out with the hairdryer initially, just so I can get more of the white base in there. Love a bit of negative space, me. So that's what I'm doing here. And in hindsight, looking back, I can see why I did it. It was to balance out the canvas. Do you see we have on the left side there, we have a nice bit of negative space. Even up on the top there in the purple section, we have our white base. And then here on the left, bottom left there with between the two blue strands, we have white as well. So I do understand the logic behind why I did it, to balance it out. But I actually loved it the way it was. Now that I'm looking at it again, I'm like, it was kind of beautiful. It was kind of beautiful. So I've done a fair amount of painting. But sometimes I can look back and think, oh, maybe I could have done that differently and I might have liked it a bit more. But yeah, just a little observation. It's always a learning process, thankfully. Otherwise it would get really boring. And here I am taking the palette knife, clean palette knife that I've wiped so there's no paint on it. And I am coming in, you see, in the little sections where I brought my baby finger into the painting. I'm finding those little sections and I'm just taking the palette knife and I'm doing a little twirl, a little squiggle, if you will. Again, just to add a little bit of flair, a little bit of oomph. Again, it's really interesting looking at, the video of the process where you can reflect and see what the painting looked like before I started adding these details versus after. Yeah, it is nice. See, that kind of looks like a face there, one of them, but yeah. I've added on those little details there, and what I'm thinking of doing now is adding in some little lines of detail for definition there with the purple in that negative space there, just because it's not a strong contrast with the white base there. So I'm coming in, I have taken a little bit of the purple color from my palette knife and I'm coming in and I'm allowing the paint to drip off the palette knife, and once it's made contact with the surface of the painting, I'm dragging that out following the natural flow of the paint that we blew out. Better do this fast than too slow. If you do it too slow, a lot of the paint can run out and then just look like a little drip in the painting. Just as a little heads up. And if you're worried about it, just start with a little bit of paint rather than too much. Yeah, so I'm just continuing that here along, adding in little details just to make that more of a contrast between the negative space and the color that's beside it. And then I'm doing the same thing here, but with the blue color, just because the edges there can look a bit kind of muddled, not entirely definite. So I'm just popping in there, coming in there with the blue, because there and those sections that we blew out, it's mostly blue. And if I came in there with the purple, it would look a bit weird. maybe a bit unsettling to look at. Sticking with the blue in the blue sections, sticking with the purple in the purple sections. You would get away with using the oxide black there in some of the purple sections, just like in the black section there on the right side of the canvas towards the edge. I would also get away with using purple there to add in that detail. Whereas I wouldn't really get away with using purple or the black in the blue section. It would look a bit obvious. So that's it. This is beautiful. We've added in our little details. Really nice. And there I am adding in a little bit of detail in the black section as well. So overall, it is so beautiful and really delicate. I am in love with the colours. I am a huge fan of blue. And it's just really lovely to look at, really electrifying. Here's a little up close detail. Ta-da! And here it is, varnished and on a wall, looking really rather lovely. Dried a lot darker as well, you can see. It looks a lot more intense. It looks really lovely. And now that I'm looking at this on a wall, dried and varnished and everything, I am glad that I went in and added in that bit of negative space there, because it does balance out all the sections and it looks really strong and intense, even with such soft colours. It's really lovely. That is it for this week's video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with you again next week. Have a lovely weekend. Bye!